It's pretty rare I do this, but I have an actual script, so for a change, uh, I'm gonna be reading that. Cause, I don't know, I felt like doing that. So, do you remember Z-1? The assault drone I first started making videos about? The first character I decided to make video edits for? The whole war against mankind to save the Earth? Well, if this brings you no memories, don't worry. I'm here with a recap of the whole story. I also have a recap of what's been happening since I stopped making my little universe videos and focus on roleplay. So grab some chips, a drink, sit down, get comfy, it's story time. Now before we start, I need to point out that the original story was never meant to be something solid. Dates vary, things were floaty for a reason. I'm not going to give a perfect recollection of events, I'm just going to go off of what I wanted at the time I wanted it that way. So, with that being said, let's begin. In a not so distant future, the planet Earth was very clearly running out of resource for the overly overpopulated human race. Experts have been predicting it for decades, but in the name of profit, they were ignored. A few wars broke out between countries searching thick and others' goods, but they quickly came to a stop by lack of, well, everything really. It was then decided that an overseer was needed to manage what was left of Earth. That overseer would need to remain neutral and would process so much information at all times that it was just impossible for a human to do. So an AI was developed to take that role. It took a while to feed that AI as accurate and as much data as possible on food supplies, plants and animal populations, human populations, weather conditions around the globe, and other necessities, but it eventually happened. At first, the Overseer program was telling humans what to do and how and why, but it quickly changed course of action when mankind was, as usual, not doing what it was told. At that point, entire facilities around the world were autonomously turned into drone factories, and they began pumping out war machines on a level of technology that most intelligent people could vaguely understand. The drones were first sent out to retrieve scraps and reuse to make more drones. Humans were skeptical at first, but they didn't try to stop the machine as they were still in the belief that they were working for them. A few weeks later, the drone's population was big enough that the total war against mankind started. The goal was simple: control the humans to regulate the planet. Obviously, humans started to fight back very quickly, so the machines began killing and a massacre began. Anyone rebelling against machines was killed. Those who obeyed were captured and put into small camps, and a select few were turned into cyborgs. There's also a couple of them that were just put into pods, frozen over time to be liberated when the world would do better. But that was a costly process, and there were very, very, very few. That's around the time that Z-1 came to be. She's part of the ninth generation of drones and began her journey roughly at the midpoint of the war. The part where humans cannot win anymore. So Z-1 went on a few missions without anything to notice, but eventually got damaged in a battle. The damage wasn't severe, but it somehow messed with her AI, and that spawned her personality. The Overseer noticed the issue, but decided not to intervene because it could lead to something interesting and some further development was, well, enjoyable. Which it did. Fast forward a while, and Z-1 is part of an assault on a human lab. This base was trying to make a time machine to avoid the destruction of the planet and the need for the AI. The damn thing didn't work as it was intended and sent our favorite drone into the verse. As you know from watching Silky's videos, and if you didn't know, now you will, the verse is nothing like the Earth, and Z-1 needed a moment to gather herself, get information on where she was, and a plan on what to do. This is what happened behind the scenes as I roleplayed Z-1 for the past year. My favorite assault drone's introduction to the metaverse was made in Haven. She made a few friends, even if she doesn't see them as such, and well, she found out that she was not as big of a threat as she thought she was. She did a few battles with some other characters, and she lost them without so much as a chance to win. Now you might be thinking, those battles must have been her alone against an army of some kind, but no. She was essentially just dueling other war machines and getting her ass handed to her. That pushed her into a bit of a research and development mode, but without equipment, progress was slow. And since Z1 is not exactly a well-behaved party, no one was really giving her a hand. After a while, her purple drone joined a few missions with other players and got to see really how different the verse is compared to Earth. Roughly 6 months in, Z1 met a guy by the name of Solace. You know, Suki's dad. He gave her an opportunity to expand, and she could just not miss it. A factory of drones made specifically off of her own design, which she controlled as if they were her own self. Because, well, they are. She would keep access to that facility as long as she would provide Solace with drones to guard his city and help him in times of needs. She was also forbidden to cause genocides unless other party had deserved it. Which meant she could not start any wars anywhere, but she could also prepare for war in times of needs. A few months later, Z-1, using her new army, has started building a mega factory in space. Now, imagine Mass Effect Citadel, but only to pump out assault drones and serve as a backup function of being a giant cannon capable of pushing planets out of orbits with ease. Yeah, no, moderation is not what she's known for. Good thing Solace has a leash on her. Since then, though, Z1 has been she's had a few more chassis to use, different builds with different abilities, more powerful, some less, more defensive, some less. But believe it or not, all of those are still just her. The hive mind has thrown a few planets into their stars and is engaged in a few wars across the metaverse, helping Solace in times of need. That's what's been going on for the past year. It's not much, you don't need a whole lot of data on this, because I'm very limited to where I can roleplay Z1. The avatar is not optimized. That limits me to the places I can go. And could I optimize it? Yes. Ultimately, I could. Is it just pure laziness? Yes. Yes, it is. As Z1 was more supposed to be for my own fun than for roleplay. It's just I saw the... I could add a character to my roster for roleplay, so I figured why not. But since I need to work on the avatar to have her be a part of roleplays, I don't know, that takes the fun out of it, so... oh well. Will you be seeing more Z1 roleplay now that I'm making this announcement? Yes, and so the idea is very simple. If I can join roleplays with Z1, I will. and I'll record it, and I'll put it on YouTube. But the only servers that I can go to with her, they start too early, and when I join, they're closing in, so there's no point in me recording anything. But I'm trying to, have you experience the Z-1 ways. So, yeah, I wanted to make a little recap as I try to get her into the channel again, and we'll see how that goes. There's also something coming up for Magnox, but we'll need to wait a little bit before we talk about that. So, stay tuned, I guess. Thanks, bye-bye.